motivational speaker, an entrepreneur, academician, Bharat. Is it now, sir? Sir,
Uh, I can read it out.
sir?
I can read it out, ma'am. Yeah. It's
Is
a
it
great.
audible?
Yeah, Hema, ma'am, it's audible. Please, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Sorry, ma'am. It's a great honor for me to introduce our next chief guest for the day, Dr. Ushaa Eswaran. Dr. Ushaa is a motivational speaker, an entrepreneur, an academician, an educationalist, life skill coach, and career guidance analyst. She is the CEO of Seek, a skill, career development guidance, and academic consultancy for the youth of our nation. She has 30 years of experience in education and industry and has served as principal, director, dean, and placement officer in various institutions. Dr. Ushaa is volunteering as Peace Ambassador in India for the cause of peace and development for Tanzania and East Africa to promote development of life changes. She has been bestowed with a lot of awards and accolades such as Life Achiever, Peace Ambassador, students, parents, teachers, trained placement.
Ma'am, please, ma'am, you can take over, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, and very good afternoon to one and all present here. And I would like to congratulate all the students for choosing VIT, and it's a wonderful place for you to educate as well as to form a path for your life. So the topic given to me, human values, is a wonderful topic which is very essential for everybody, especially for students. And I thank the organizers and the Almighty for giving me an opportunity to talk to you regarding this today. So let me start with a question of who are you? There will be a question every time when somebody wants you to get introduced, you know, like they may ask like, who are you? What is your name? Or how do you explain yourself? So it differs. The answer differs from different age groups. So when you're before school, you know, you have only the name tag. So you will say, I'm so-and-so. Then when you come to your school, you will add on, your teacher will suggest that we take a hobby on top. I may say like, I'm Ushaa, I like dancing. And then when you graduate, you go to work and we drop the hobbies and replace them with achievements. I can say that I have my BE, ME, PhD, and I run my own company. So this is how I explain about myself, or when somebody asks me, who are you? But none of these are good answers because they all focus on the tiny part of your life. No matter how impressive you can get your introduction to sound over the course of your life, at the end of the day, you're not defined by your resume. You're defined by your character. What shapes that character? Isn't your work history or even any set of traits in particular? It is your values. Most of us have not understood the true meaning of values and using them to live a principle-centered life. Values are our fundamental beliefs, informing our thoughts, words, and actions. We all have values, things that are important to us, and that we do without conscious thinking. Having values is good. Having values based on correct principles is the best. Your values are like roots. The more you're clear of your values, the more you stay connected to your values and to what is most important to you. You might have to face tough decisions at times because every day we have decision making, something or the other. But you can make those decisions authentically and in a sense of peace because you know what is true for you. Somewhere, values are nothing but a decision making framework we create for ourselves, where independent of how I feel that moment, where that moment comes in the future. It is independent of my moods. It is independent of my temptation. Something tells me, if someone says me, you can get 3 crores of money, but you have to say a single lie. You have to give a substandard quality of material. You can get such a huge profit. So you are going to decide whether you're going to tell a lie, because when compared to 3 crores in the materialistic world, that's a huge amount. But if you have a value system where you have kept in your mind, you believe that I should not lie, I should not cheat anyone, irrespective of whatever benefit I get, then the 3 crores will look very small in front of telling a lie. So big moment. People who are living in a materialistic world, you have to have a value system at that moment. That situation cannot make you make a decision. You need to have a value system by which you know what you are going to do at that moment. And for those who have created this value system for themselves, there are no difficult decisions for their life. There are tough decisions, but not difficult to make. But with effortless ease, we will be able to make it in those moments, because they are not operating out of our moods. They are not operating out of our emotion at that moment. They are operating from our value system. Values are what we have. Values are things we do. Values are things we practice and live by. Values guide our behavior and the actions we take. While our values govern our behaviors, principles govern the consequences of those behaviors. While values may vary from person to person, everyone will have something important in their life, but principles will always remain constant in the universe. In other words, even though we may have different values, they are all governed by the same principles. The degree to which we recognize and live in harmony with principles determines if we are moving toward living a principle-centered life or moving away from it. Let us take an example from Mahabharata. Let me quote Duryodhan. He believed he was a rightful king. He believed it was okay to plot, conspire, and even kill his own brothers for kingdom. He valued kingdom more than his relationship and his brothers. That led to a war, his downfall and death. When you see Yudhishthir, he had a different value system. He valued relationships and his brothers more. He was fair, and just because of which his stepbrothers Nakul and Sahadev stayed with him in unity. He ruled with fairness. He respected elders and kept their words. Two different value systems, two of them have behavior and different lives. The more your values are aligned to principles, the more the chances of your success. Gandhiji said, your beliefs become your thoughts. Your thoughts become your words become your actions, and your actions become your habits, and your habits become your values, and your values become your destiny. See how nicely they are connected. Whatever we do, the action that is dependent on the habits that has been formed because we have been repeatedly doing. And why we are doing? Because we say that. Why do we say that? Because we think. And why do we think? Because we believe it. So it's all starts from your belief. If you believe something, you think about it. When you think about it, it comes out as your word. And when it comes out as words, it becomes your actions. And all these actions, when it is repeatedly done, it becomes your habit. And that is what is your value, which decides your destiny. Why values are important? Our values are important because they help us to grow and develop. And also the entire country, the entire world will respect you if you have a principle-centered life. Principles, what are principles and how they differ from verbs? Values, principles are nouns, they are not verbs, because you cannot practice integrity. Integrity is a principle. You cannot practice principle, whereas you can follow principles, and you can only practice values. The values are your actions, they are the verbs, and they are based on correct principles. You cannot practice integrity, as I say. So you can always do some right thing following the principle of integrity. I'm going to tell you three important things now. That is AIR, that is your air, what we breathe. They're very important for our life. Similarly, A for accountability, I for integrity, and R for responsibility. So let me first talk about the integrity part. It is nothing but the quality of being honest and having a strong moral principles. I will just narrate you a small story through which you will be able to understand this better, because many of us know the definition, but really we have not understood it. Once upon a time, on the outskirts of a big city in Japan, there stood an old temple. From young age, the boys who wanted to study Buddhism would come to live in the temple and to learn from the master teacher, who is a Buddhist monk. One day, the Buddhist monk who ran this small temple decided to teach his young students a lesson about integrity. He gathered them and spoke. My dear students, as you can see, I'm growing old and I'm very slow. I'm not able to earn money to take care of this temple, and I will not be able to run this school anymore. So I know I haven't taught you to work for money. So I can only think of one thing that can keep our school going. The students drew close with eyes open. They are all eager what the master is going to say. He said, our nearby city is full of wealthy people with more money in their purses than they could ever need. I want you to go to the city and follow those rich people when they walk through the crowded streets, when no one is looking, and only when no one is looking, you must steal their purses from them. That way we will get enough money to keep our school alive. The students were confused because the teacher has taught them that they should not take others' objects. Then they asked him again. They said, yes, of course, but you can take when nobody is looking. And remember again, nobody is looking, you should steal. Everybody went, all the students went, and the master was just looking at them going. And suddenly, he turned back and he could see one boy standing there. One boy standing there. So he saw that boy and he asked, like, why? Why haven't you gone with them? You don't want to help to save our temple? The boy said, I do, master. But you said that we had to steal without being seen. I know that there is no place on earth that I would not be seen, for I would always see myself. This is what is the lesson the teacher wanted to teach. I know that there is no place on earth that I would not be seen, for I would always see myself. So excellent, exclaimed the teacher. That is just the lesson that I hope my students would learn. But you were the only one who really understood what is integrity. Many of us do that. We come to a room or we hide ourselves and do certain things, imagining, thinking that who is seeing us? But you should believe that it is you also seeing that act. So if you have a belief that you should not cheat anyone, you should not do anything wrong, then it should not be done even when you're alone. That is very, very essential in life, because there is a saying that it takes you your whole life to build your reputation, but you can destroy it in just a heartbeat. The word integrity comes from the word integer, which means a state of being whole, undivided and intact. It is the essence of one's character. A person of high integrity values all the correct principles in their life. Integrity has to do with self. It's about keeping promises and fulfilling one's commitments without giving excuses or blaming others. As students, we all have committed to our parents, we all have committed to our teachers, and we all have committed to our own self that we will be responsible. Without blaming anyone, we have to follow and fulfill our commitments. We need to take it seriously, whatever we do, and we have to do it in a rightful manner. Integrity has more to do with what we do privately than publicly. That is the one decides what type of person you are. When our actions are consistent with our intent, we have integrity. Who you are inside is what comes out to others. When our thoughts, words, and actions are consistent with each other, nothing else matters. When we have integrity, our other values fall into place. When we don't have integrity, nothing else matters. Yes. Second one is accountability. How many of us are accountable? If we do a mistake and we fail somewhere, we blame others. People should be accountable for their mistakes. They should accept their mistakes and rectify the mistakes. I'm going to tell you about a cricket player, the real life example, which will inspire you like anything. A cricket player who has a passion and goal that he wanted to play in an Indian cricket team. And he was doing his degree course. And he was allowed to come to class when there is an exam or to take some important notes. The remaining time, he was in the grounds playing and practicing for Ranji Trophy. So one day before exams, he comes to the class and surprisingly, he was wearing gloves in his hands. All the students were looking at him like, what is this? He is coming straight from playground and he has not removed his gloves. He came to class, he started writing notes. The entire day he was with gloves. And the next day also he came with gloves. All his friends were concerned about him and they went and asked him like, why are you with your gloves? Why? What is the reason? Then he said like, see, last 2 Ranji matches when I played, I had old gloves. And the old gloves were very loose. So because the gloves were loose, when the bowler bowled, the ball just went past my gloves and it created a snick sound. Because when I was shaking my hand, the gloves was old and loose and it created this sound. The wicketkeeper caught it. He appealed, and both the times, even though I did not touch the ball, I was given caught behind. I thought to myself, no, this can't continue. And so I bought new gloves and I wanted to get accustomed to wearing these new gloves because they are tight. When I wear these gloves directly on my Ranji match, I will be concentrating only on my gloves because it will be very uncomfortable for my hands. I want my hands to sweat into these new gloves. So for next 48 hours, I will wear these gloves continuously because the next Ranji match, which is the semi-final in 2 days. I want my hands to sweat in and get adjusted to the gloves. I'm not going to remove the gloves, even when I'm sleeping, even when I'm eating, even when I'm coming to class. Because I wanted to do well in my next match and I want my hands to get comfortable in those gloves. The very match that was their semi-finals against Saurashtra, he scored a century. And in the finals with Karnataka, he played against Delhi. That year, he scored another century, and based on these 2 performances, he got selected for the Indian cricket. Can you guess who he is? He's none other than Rahul Dravid. One passion. If you want to excel in anything in life, there has to be passion. Rahul was willing to wear those blouses for 48 hours, whether it was uncomfortable or it was hot. Second important thing was his responsibility. He took accountability and responsibility on himself for his own performance. He never said for once that the wicket keeper is so unethical. He knew that he did not touch the ball. Even then, they appealed and he got out. He took the responsibility for his own life. He had a very strong internal locus of control. The internal locus of control simply means that I will not blame the external circumstances for what is there in my life. I will take the responsibility for what is happening in my life. He had a great virtue of taking responsibility, and the three things, A, accountability, I, integrity, and R, responsibility, made Rahul Dravid one of the most prolific run scorers in India. Success comes to those who are willing to take the responsibility and who are ready to challenge themselves to do something great in their life. The one who has passion for his dreams and the one who has the ability to take responsibility for their own life and have a principle-centered life will always reach the top. You may be rich, you may be running around money, you may be going behind materialistic things. You want to become rich, big house, big car. Oh my God, you want everything in your life. You wanted to improve the standard of living. But it is not the standard of living that makes you happy. It is the standard of your life that makes you happy. Very often we forget to give attention to those things that makes you truly happy, which is why things that we are talking about have utility value and not happiness value. Never ever compromise on those principles and values that also improve the standard of your life. My dear students, our happiness and our increased standard of life are not in things. It's in people, it's in relationship, it's in your character. It's meaningful, heartful, deep bonding of love, respect, truthfulness, empathy, emotional intelligence, attitude of gratitude, integrity, trust in your own self. All these things, that brings the fulfillment to the heart. The pencil maker told the pencil that what is truly important is what lies within you. Externally, we all have our work. Externally, we have our personality, we have our degrees, we have our position, we have a big house, everything is there. But internally, as a person, we have to also develop. The external is the casing and the internal is the lead that makes an impact. While we lead a life of valuables externally, we must also prioritize the values internally. There are so many good things that are happening, blessings of God. Let us be grateful to all those things. And when we talk about contact and connection, many of us have enormous amount of contacts, but we really don't know what is the real meaning of connection. Connection between heart to heart, sitting together, sharing meals, caring for each other, touching each other, shaking hands, having eye contact, spending some time together. That is what is connection. Even with our own parents, even with our own relatives, even with our own good friends, well-wishers, we don't have connection. We are just getting contacts. We have a number of contacts in your Facebook, Instagram, telephone, a number of contacts. But how many are getting really connected, emotionally connected? How many of you can understand? How many of you can feel gratitude about? And this is what is the reality today, whether at home or in the society. Everybody has a lot of contacts, but there is no connection, no communication. Everybody is in his own world. Let us not maintain contacts. Let us remain connected, caring, sharing, spending time with all our dear ones. Our parents worked hard to pay the bills and to keep a roof over our heads. But even now, the parents may not be able to give you material things, but they give us something much more precious things. They give us strong values. They teach us to treat each other with dignity and respect. They teach us to push for excellence in everything you do. They teach us to be humble. They teach us to be grateful. They teach us to put every last bit of effort into your education. If we believed in ourselves, if we made every single opportunity, we could build our own destinies and accomplish anything we put our minds to. List your highest values, and every day morning when you get up, think about it. How am I going to fulfill that? What are my highest values? What are the most important things in my life? What I need to do every day to get connected to my education? When am I going to improve myself? How am I going to have 1% improvement every day? How am I going to respect every human being, irrespective of their age, irrespective of their position, irrespective of anything, money or anything? Everything, all these values should be followed, and it has to be practiced, and you have to recall each and every day, and you need to implement the same. And while doing that, you feel so good. Every day you will have so much of good feeling, and it's not 100 different things you have to do. There are 2 or 3 things you have in your life as a student every day. How you can be genuine, how you can be truthful, how you can reach your destiny. If you want to achieve something, you have a goal, fix a goal, work towards your goal. And if you are not able to achieve something, don't change your goal, change your tactics. Don't change your goal. You can achieve anything in this world in a truthful manner, in a honest manner, in a humble manner, and be thankful to whatever you get in your life. Be thankful for whatever the God has showered on you. You have a wonderful parent, wonderful relatives, you have wonderful friends and wonderful teachers. You have come to a wonderful university. The university itself proves the value it follows. It has the good thoughts and believe that it has to give a quality education. So VIT has been following wonderful principles, and it believes, and it has been thinking about it, that how to give good quality education to these students. And that is what is being in the action. The way the things are being going on in the VIT, you can understand that it is shown in their action, and that has become a habit that everybody follows their action, and finally that has become their value. So you can just go there and you can start up your education, follow all the principles, whatever is there in the world, and have your own values and beliefs. Believe 100%. Don't have temptation. Don't have hesitation. The God has made us so beautiful.